We have invited Dr. Etienne Mutabazi, a lawyer who served at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. The ICTR was created in 1994 and tried genocide perpetrators. Dr. Mutabazi joins us in studio. Dr. Mutabazi, good evening and thank you so much for joining us on The Globe.
Good evening, Rugabu.
Now, it's 25 years on the day of tragic events. We watch the scenes on, every television, and it seems that are really shocking and still scary. And you think 800,000 as a huge number, a tenth of the population of the country. How do ordinary Rwandese feel on the ground about this day with regards to what took place 25 years ago?
No, it was really terrible, and those people died. It's a fact. They were killed. They did not commit suicide, and we have been expecting that the situation could improve. Unfortunately, what we are experiencing today is that all that is required for another tragedy of a magnitude beyond the genocide of 1994 is being created in the face, eyes, spirit and mind of the whole international community. So people are just coming to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the genocide, but they don't look beneath the surface and say, what can we do to stop or to prevent a tragedy of the same magnitude?
Are you saying that there's a possibility, or the way things are looking on the ground in Rwanda currently, that might lead to another possibility of a massacre?
When you consider the leadership style of President Kagame, when you consider the number of Rwandans who have been killed inside Rwanda, when you consider the policies of the country as we speak, when you look at even Rwandans who have taken exile elsewhere, and it's really the same as pre-1994 and even more, because many Rwandans are being killed, are being tortured, and nothing is being done.
Is this in the public domain? Is this in the public space? Because seemingly there's not really much that's happening with killings and deaths that is out there in the media space.
Unfortunately, if we were to look at the many reports by Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, what Rwandans like myself, like others have written on the topic, there is a lot that can now lead ones to arrive at a determination that the seeds of genocide are already in place.
The daily living of Rwandese on the ground, what's it like, apart from what you're describing and the killings and torture and, just the ordinary people in the streets of Rwanda?
If you go to Kigali, maybe it's a clean city. That's what we are told in the media. But you go down in the villages, like a month ago, the president himself was in the southern province at the Nyamagabe, and he was saying people are suffering from jiggers. During my time, I left Rwanda 25 years ago. There were no jiggers. People have jiggers, people are hungry, people are even angry because we have been expecting reconciliation, waiting for reconciliation. It does not happen.
I need to ask you, what's a jigger?
Jigger, this kind of insect that can attack you in the feet or even on the fingers, because of lack of sanity. You do not have enough water to wash yourself. You are dirty. Those small insects will attack you, and your feet will just swallow, become swollen.
Now, are there indications from the president and government with regards to developing or assisting in developing those villages that you talk about that we don't really get to see?
No. Let's not look at the structure development. Let's see at the development of the people. Are the people being developed? What is the social coexistence between Rwandans? We do not have such. All that we see is buildings, mushrooming up in Kigali, and eventually swear, but go down in the village, there's nothing.
Now, 25 years on from that, you know, the 100 days of the killings and atrocities that we've seen, you know, one important achievement that is spoken about is the experience of reconciliation.
Reconciliation, who reconcile with who? Because what we have in Rwanda is that Hutu in the majority must say, we have killed, we are killers. Tutsis, we reported them as victims. Some of them, I mean, not all of them. But reconciliation, in my understanding, in someone else's understanding, is that former antagonists can come together, dialogue, design a better future together. We do not have it happening nowadays. And people are angry, as I earlier mentioned.
Now, you served on the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. Can you sum up the work so far? And, you know, are these prosecutions not working against the intended reconciliation? As you just mentioned, who reconciled?
Exactly.
Did the ICT work?
Reconciliation was one of the objectives of the ICT, yet it was too ambitious, because criminal tribunal should only serve that purpose and not be overburdened by multiple objectives. So we did not really touch on that aspect, because quite less than 100 people were arrested, sentenced to some to lengthy sentences, and even some acquitted. All of them Hutus. We did not have any single Tutsi who could have been accused of having committed act of genocide, war crimes, or crimes against humanity, who appeared in the court. And when you look at the reports that led to the establishment of the International Criminal Tribunals for Rwanda, when you look at various letters and intervention by the former United Nations Secretary General, the late Boutros Ghali, those reports were talking of both parties, meaning the government party of the time and the Rwandan Patriotic Front. We have insisted, I mean, I was in the defense, we have insisted that at least a token of those RPF soldiers, officers who were accused, could at least appear and respond to some of the crimes. That nothing of such have been done. We raised the issue of the downing, the shooting down of the presidential aircraft on April 6, 1994, and said it's none of our business. I recall then prosecutor Kara Del Ponte and later Bakar Jallo saying this is not part of our mandate. Maybe it is an act of terrorism, but we were looking at anything that can, in the eyes of the Rwandans, in the eyes of the people in the region, in the eyes of the international community, could say there is something that is being done for national reconciliation. So we are now in a situation whereby President Kagame and a tiny minority of people around him are just directing everything else, and no one has a say. So is that reconciliation? In my understanding, no. We have experienced reconciliation elsewhere, even starting here in South Africa, though not everything is perfect, but at least people could appear before Archbishop Tutu and present a case in front of everybody. We did not have such in Rwanda. We are still expecting it. There is no reconciliation in Rwanda. In words, yes. In fact, under the ground, nothing is being done.
Now, are you saying that the current government, with regards to amending the historical divide, isn't really doing much?
No, it's not doing much. It's rather deepening the country, and we are ready on a sliding slope. And anything, as I said, we can see a calamity far beyond the genocide of 1994. That I can say it with authority.
The role of foreign nations, any one nation to blame with what took place 25 years ago, and what you are describing today with regards to what's happening on the ground in Rwanda?
They see it, they close their eyes. They see it, they shut up their mouth. They don't want to raise the real issue. If you were to consider what happened today, I could see some former head of state in the commemoration today. I could see other gentlemen very well dressed. They know their reality. Don't tell me, for example, that the Prime Minister of Belgium does not know what is happening in Rwanda. He has intelligence on the ground. Don't tell me that the US does not know. Don't tell me that other world leaders do not know what is happening in Rwanda, because those reports are generated from the information they collect in Rwanda. They are aware of, for example, the mapping report in Congo in 2010. They are aware of many human rights reports on the torture of Rwandan in the military barracks. They are aware of that. They are not doing anything.
Why are they not doing anything?
I cannot tell you. I do not know, because I am not part of their cycle. I am just a simple analyst. But if I were to compare it with what happened before 1994, everything came in the eyes of everybody. They will just rub it under the carpet. That is what actually is happening today.
Now, speaking of the former colonizer Belgium, being accused of propagating the myth that Tutsis were the superior ethnicity, the indoctrination that took place on the ground.
Maybe yes, maybe not, because this is part of the history of colonization, of indirect rule, because not long ago I was reading on how Rwanda was colonized as early as 1896, how, for example, the white fathers, the German, later the Belgian, could have their say on the ground. But this is just a drop in the sea of problems. So let's not blame any single entity, be it Belgium or anyone in that perspective. But let's look at the whole picture in a holistic manner and say who should have done what. And as we move through the ages, there were many improvements, including as Rwandans, including our former leaders. They could have been more responsible than they have been.
You've mentioned what should have taken place with regards to dealing with the process towards reconciliation that you say is currently not happening on the ground. What needs to happen for Rwanda to move forward from what happened, the genocide that took place 25 years ago, and what's taking place on the ground as you speak?
I think we need really to put aside the politicization and commercialization of the genocide and face the sufferings of the ordinary Rwandans, because genocide has been kind of part of the business of the current government. They did not allow people to sit together, have a frank dialogue to design a better future together. So we have many communities in Rwanda, most particularly the Tutsis, the Hutus, the Twas. I have not seen those communities on equal footing, sitting around a table and dialogue, not argue among them, but dialogue between themselves and say, you have suffered, I have suffered, how can we feel sympathy to each other and design a better future together? We do not have such.
Has President Paul Kagame done anything to unite the Rwandan people?
I think he's the one who is rather fueling the disaster I was referring to a short while ago, because before coming here I was screening from some of his speeches. If he say, we have to shoot those who could not chase to the Congo. When he said we will shoot them in broad day, and the next day his officers, his soldiers will go in the population and shoot. When we hear what his senior military officers are saying today, so this is not really a way a responsible head of state should handle a kind of matter of the nature of the Rwandan situation. So President Kagame, I said it, I will repeat it, in any forum, he's fueling the violence.
Now, Dr. Mutabazi, Rwanda is one of Africa's fastest growing economies and one of a few countries whose public relations is competing with countries in the Northern Hemisphere presently. What is the driving force, and is everyone benefiting from this economic windfall?
No, to begin with the last part of the question, not everyone, because I mentioned that maybe a tiny minority in the capital Kigali might benefit. But we need to ask who owns what? Which prominent company, to your best knowledge or to the knowledge of anybody, own a business in Rwanda? Because we know of business people who could take the country forward, who have been killed. We lost a businessman like Asina Gara in 2015. A few days, I was responding to a question about Tibat Rujugiro. He was an investor. He's in Uganda. He has been chased. His business has been taken by the state. If I were to lead the whole list of business people of Rwandan origin who could take the country forward, is endless. So, once again, I wonder if a country is telling you we are developing, we are very far, and you don't have a name of a single business operator of Rwandan origin who is well known in Africa. I don't know any. But I know that the ruling party, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, through its conglomerate called the Crystal Venture Investment, is running the business from the top in investment and down to the street vendors. We do not have the street vendors unless you are a member of the party. Yes, we have some investors from abroad who are friendly to the president, but is that what, as Rwandan, you should expect? I do not think so.
Dr. Mutabazi, thank you so much for joining us.
I most appreciate it.